Hello and welcome to Social Selling Made Simple. My name is Marky Lemons-Ryhal, social media speaker and Facebook Live host, and I am elated today to have Maher on. I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited. One, he is a best-selling author, but he is a man who, oh God, he tells you exactly who you need to focus on in order to increase your referrals. And as real estate professionals, referrals are the backbone of our business. There is nothing like getting a check in the mail and you forget the person's name because you did something as simple as make a referral. Michael, welcome.
Wow. First of all, what an intro. I love you didn't read the intro or you went straight from the heart, right? And I will tell you, it's an honor and a privilege to be on. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you do for the industry every single day. Just keep adding value, keep providing this. You just keep giving massive value first and just know that it is appreciated. Thank you, Marky.
Well, thank you very much. I am more elated, though, to have you here today because you have some strong strategies that we can utilize in the world of real estate to make our lives simpler. I know that when people often come into real estate, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't even know anything about a database. And there's one sentence that I was told that I needed to talk about with you, and that was find, mobilize, and train an army of ambassadors. How do we find ambassadors, and what does that mean?
So an ambassador is somebody who speaks highly of you and refers you willingly, right? So that's essentially what an ambassador is, like a brand ambassador, right? In the marketing world, you would call it like a brand ambassador. In the real estate world, this is, a more than a brand ambassador. This is like a personal ambassador, somebody who is willing to brag about you, speak about you. And when real estate comes up out in the neighborhood, they're the ones that are like, oh, you got to call my friend. You got to call my guy. You got to call my girl. You got to call my lady. You got to call my realtor. And they're willing to have the courage to stand up and say your name and recommend you. And ambassadors are precious. Ambassadors they're rare. They really are. You can't just make ambassadors, right? You can't just create them. You have to find them. So many people are like, well, if you just get good service, they'll give you referrals. No, that's a myth, right? There are people that you could literally like find them the home of their dreams and then give them the moon as their closing gift, and they would not refer you, right? They would not refer you.
So why wouldn't they refer you though?
Yeah, because they are just not referring type of people. There are people in this world who will not refer anything. They won't refer a restaurant. They won't refer a movie. They won't refer an agent, and on the movie and restaurant, if they won't refer a movie or a restaurant, they'll never refer a contractor. So it's one of those where, and people are hesitant to refer someone just because it's like, what if it doesn't go well? Right? They don't have the courage. They don't have the self-image. They don't have the self-strength to refer. It takes somebody with a good to strong self-esteem to refer, because it's like too many people are tied to the outcome, right? Whereas somebody that's successful, somebody that has self-esteem, somebody has a strong self-image isn't worried about the outcome. They're like, you know what? I'm going to connect Michael and Marky. And if it turns out great. If it doesn't, that's okay too, right? So ambassadors are precious. Ambassadors are somebody to be truly hugged and loved and communicated with and treated like they are diamonds. You treat everybody like a diamond. You treat your ambassadors even better.
I have a young lady in my real estate group, and I would say she's a wonderful ambassador. She speaks highly with enthusiasm. She refers anyone and everything for anything. And so I never even thought about that there was a referral personality type. But then there's some people, you might say, oh, I love that fingernail polish, or where do you get your nails done? And they will never tell you. Now, I always thought they were being selfish, but now I realize they don't have a referral personality, right?
They just don't have the referral gene, right? I truly believe that people either through through social or through genetics. I really believe there are some people who just have the referral gene, like you were talking about your young lady. Here's what's so amazing about this is you just mentioned her, right? Who out of all the people you know, who did you just talk about? You talked about the person who talks about others the most. So I think that the first lesson that we really have to get around is this thought of we need to get into the aspect of ourselves, right? Is we have a thought within the generosity generation and the 7L system is that fly, right? Fly. First, love yourself. Fly, right? And that's what my morning ritual is all about. That's what my, I teach the morning ritual with several different aspects, but it's like first love yourself. And one of the ways to love yourself and fall in love yourself is to champion others, to talk about others, to support others. And one of the things you'll find is that it's easy to champion a champion. And that's like one of the quotes of the day, right? It's easy to champion a champion. And so why is that, right? So what's amazing is you see that young lady championing a contractor or another person. So first of all, how do you feel about the person that they referred? You feel pretty good. But who are you more attracted to? Who are you more likely to go up at the end of the networking meeting and talk to? Are you more likely to go to the referral, or are you more likely to go to the ambassador?
I'll go to the ambassador.
Isn't that interesting? Exactly. Because if you didn't need what the contractor was selling or serving, then you're like, okay, that's good to know for later. But who is good to know now? It's the ambassador. The reason is because it's easy to champion a champion. By that person championing what we think to ourselves, and we don't process this or think it consciously, it all happens subconsciously, but we're like, you know what? I need to meet her, because here's the thing. If I do a good job, if I build a relationship with her, she's going to champion me. She is more likely than anybody in this room to brag and champion me, because she's already shown the characteristics of championing another. So it's very attractive when we champion other people. It's very repelling. It's very like chasing to champion yourself, right? Don't champion yourself, champion others. So it's easy to champion a champion. You are far more attractive when you are championing others. So I guess we'll let that process, and then I have another thought maybe.
But you know what I'm thinking? She always attracts, and I'm going to say her name. Her name is Nicole Wheatley. She always attracts people to her. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be around her. One, because she makes everyone else feel good. She's always positive and she uplifts you. And I told somebody yesterday, I said, imagine having her in your real estate group and talking to her every morning at 7:00, which is what we do. And so I realized now why I was so attracted to her, but she said she was attracted to me for the same reason. So I give referrals, but what I've told people about when I give referrals, use the referral for what I told you the referral was good for, because sometimes people will come to the referral and they'll want something that I never told you that person was good at doing.
That happens.
Yeah,
like the computer guy who sells computers and then they start turning them into IT. Right?
Exactly.
There's this deal where like there's a bubble that comes up on my screen every once in a while, or whatever. But so that really leads us into kind of the other thing about find your ambassadors is that first of all, realize that they're really rare, right? They're not hard to find, but it's one of those where it's worth the search, right? The other thing is to get ambassadors, to find ambassadors, be an ambassador. How good are you at referring others? And the better you get at being an ambassador, the better ambassadors that you will attract to you. And yeah, go ahead, Marky.
So I have a comment, because I often tell real estate professionals, because they're like this all the time with their hands clenched, because what they don't realize in the world of real estate, we are in competition. However, in order to get a deal done, we have to come back and collaborate. So I'm telling people, you really need to focus on your niche, and anything that isn't in your niche, you need to let it go. And you need to refer all these people to other people who that is their niche. And think about it like icing on the cake. You get to bake a full cake, have a great business, and make money. But when you refer out real estate transactions that aren't in your niche, you're basically putting icing on top of the cake.
Right.
So we're looking for this personality. So how do we find that in our current client base, like the buyers and the sellers? How do we find those ambassadors?
Yeah, so they're probably already there, is first thing. The second thing is that we're going to, so in general, the people who are the best referral sources, first of all, they're goal setters. So one of the things that we can be asking all of our database and all of the people that we know is, what are your goals? And what the first part of the year is a great time to do that, because many people may have set goals in December or January for the year, but you can truly I ask that question all the time. What are your goals? Right? What are your goals? What's your biggest project this year? What's your, and those who have goals make the best referral sources. And those who don't have goals tend to not be great referral sources. So we want to find the goal setters, and quite honestly, don't we want to hang around with the goal setters anyway?
Yes,
right?
we do.
so they make the best referral sources because they know that you have goals, you have ambitions, right? What is it? A person who has goals is looking to grow and has ambition, right? So guess what? They understand your goals and they understand your ambition to grow. So it's one of those where they will help you achieve your goals. You will help them achieve their goals. And I would say when you find somebody where it's like, what are your goals? They tell you some goals. You need to catalog that. You need to note that. And then you need to help them achieve their goals, right? What if I told you the simplest way to achieve your goals was simply by helping others achieve their goals first?
I believe that.
It's
I
100% true. I've lived it for 20 years.
You know what? I'm utterly amazed, because now I need to add another category to my customer relationship management system, right? Generally, I want to know what your goal is in regards to real estate.
The transaction.
Right. What do you want to buy or sell?
Yeah.
But to ask them, first of all, we're asking a question that most people would never ask them. And I think that they would think it was the most courteous thing that had ever happened to them.
That's right.
That someone cares about their personal goals.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. So how would you like someone asking you, what are your goals?
I would love it. I've loved it every time it's happened.
That's right. How would you like it if somebody came up to you and said, what can I do for you? Would you like that?
I've every time, it's only happened a few times. And I remember every person who's asked me, and I thought to myself, wow.
How about this? How would you like people asking, how can I help you?
How can I help you?
How can I help you? Would you like me to ask you that?
I like, how can I help you with the goals more than how can I help you?
That's right. How can I help you? And then how about this? How do I make this the biggest win for you? Would you like me to ask you that?
I remember the one person who asked me that question at the National Speakers Association. One person in life.
That's right. So here's the thing, right? Is what if we talk about differentiation all the time. We talk about differentiating your brand and differentiating your niche or niche. And it's one of those where, what if your differentiation was generosity, appreciation, and love? And what if your differentiation was asking better questions, right? So
it's
simple, inexpensive, and guess what? You might learn something. And it's one of those where it's like, okay, there's something called question reciprocity. And question reciprocity is something that when you ask somebody a question and they answer it, the next question they're most likely to ask is the exact same question you ask them. So if we want someone to, it's all the time. How's it going? Good. How's it going? Right? I mean, we do this, we do it like parrots. We do it like robots. And it's the same way for anything. So it's like, what are your goals? Right? What are your goals? And they answer, right? And you ask questions about the goals. You ask questions about the goals. And you're like, I'm really interested in your goals. And you probably feel like this is 20 questions. I've asked you a lot, but I'm genuinely interested in what you're talking about and your goals. And I may have an opportunity to help you here or there with some of the goals. But before we even go on, are there any questions that you have for me before we go on? And the question that they're going to ask you is, all right, tell me about your goals, or what are your goals, right? So the best way for us to get people to ask the question that we want them to ask us is to ask them first, right? So Marky, who's your ideal client?
Okay, so I would tell you who my ideal client is, and then I would come back and ask you the same question.
Maybe, right? And if you didn't, I'm not going to be heartbroken. It's all good, right?
I got you.
And then, so how's the best way to refer you, Marky? How is the best way to refer you?
The best way to refer me would be through email, as it's my preferred method of communicating.
So a three-way email, or do you want me to email you first?
Why don't we email me first so that I'll know, and then a three-way email.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So, and if somebody was talking, like I'm at a realtor conference and I'm hearing all these conversations, what's the word or phrase that I should hear that would trigger me to refer you to that person or connect you to that person?
What is the phrase that you would,
yeah, how would I recognize a good referral for you when I'm out and about?
Someone who is complaining about social media and technology.
Very good, which is about everybody, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So so that was just, those are what, 8 to 10 questions that I would cover in a one-on-one with someone. And I would just ask those. And every once in a while, I'm just going to stop and say, all right, I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. And it also lowers the intensity of the conversation. I can be really intense because I live life very driven, very intense. So this thing about stopping and just saying, hey, listen, I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm genuinely curious. I do want to know, but do you have any questions for me, right? And they're going to ask one of those questions, which is going to lead to a conversation about maybe how they can help me. But if it doesn't, that's okay too, right? So this whole power of question reciprocity it's imperative to know, right? It's one of those where just knowing, the beauty of it is it forces you to ask other people great questions, right? Questions that you would want somebody to ask of you.
Well, one, and they're questions that they aren't generally being asked. And so I'm loving every last one of these questions because I'm taking like my personal notes because I need to go back and think about, we always teach scripts in real estate, right?
That's right.
We need to change the dialogue of the script to make it more personal and not transactional. I just listened to somebody who talked about that we need to stop thinking about transactional relationships because it just doesn't work. We need to get back into the relationship. And this brings it back into everything about them. So these questions are wonderful. Now, let me ask you this. Are these a part of, because you are a best-selling author of the 7 levels of communication, right? Go from relationships to referrals. Is this in that book?
Yeah. So, so parts of this are in the book. In fact, chapter 1, right? So we jump right in and you're going to learn a ton in chapter 1. And the thing is what's so funny about the book is read the 12 chapters. It's a love story that even a guy could read. And so you read it like a love story, but there's over 100 referral generating strategies inside the book. And what I love to do with people is read the 12 chapters. You're going to read it in a couple hours. Finish, and then go back into chapter 1 and see which of the strategies Michelle used with Rick at the very first meeting. And you're like, oh my gosh, she's using this, she's using this, she used this, she used this. And so chapter 1 is really good because you don't even know it's happening, right? And then you go back through and it's like, she just had a really good conversation with that person. At the end, you realize she's using the 7L system with Rick, and it was clean. It was wonderful. It was, that's the beauty of the 7L system is it's basically treating people the way they want to be treated, which results in them treating us the way we want to be treated. If you want to go from transactional to relational, right, is change everything in your script from telling, selling, and speaking to asking and questioning. No more telling, right? No more selling, no more directing, no more commanding, no more telling. It just, like every script you have, change it to a question. And when you change it to a question, it's about them, not you. And you're probably going to get the results a lot faster than you did before, right? I mean, social media, you talk about social media. You throw up a listing or you throw up some statement, you get no likes, no comments, no shares. But if you put up there, I've got one for everybody in here, is put, I'm thinking about pizza tonight. Where should I go in whatever your city is? So I'm in Atlanta. Where should I go in Atlanta for pizza? And then see what happens, right? The question leads to more engagement, which leads to a better relationship, which hopefully eventually ends up in referrals. And the book subtitle is Go from Relationships to Referrals. We all have relationships. We all have relationships. But there is a process that we need to take from having relationships to actually getting referrals. And that's what we lay out with the steps in the book.
And now that I understand the principles, I am clear in my mind who has already been through your training based on how they made me feel when I've talked to them. So I will tell you it works because I distinctly know who. And I'm like, I've always thought that they made me feel special.
You are special.
I thank you very much. But they always ask me questions and they always turn it around. And the fact that I can identify those people and the fact that it's what they say is not what you say is how you make people feel. They made me feel special. And so I'm just thinking, I gotta, not only should I implement this, I'm thinking that all realtors need to implement it because one, it's not a ongoing cost to implement, right? You change your mind, you change your daily habits, and you will then see the effects of this. So it's not an app or anything. They need to change their dialogue with people, thereby it will enhance their relationships.
That's right. With everyone.
Yeah.
So we have a question that, we have a series of questions that we teach that have been very impactful for people. In fact, I just got a call from a coaching client whose daughter was trying to get a job at a university, and very important job. She's 20, and there were like 1,000 applicants for this job. Really good job at the university. And the thing is she goes to university. They're looking to hire a student, and everybody wanted this job because it has some great perks around athletics and things like that. So what's interesting is that she ended up getting the job. Spoiler alert, she got the job, right? But it's like what they were most impressed with, and this is what Julie was calling me about, was her questions, right? So what happened is they went through the interview where they're asking all the questions, and then at the end you have a chance, like, what questions do you have, right? And I'm sure many of the applicants were like, no, that was a very thorough, I don't really have any questions for you. And so Julie's daughter was different because she's heard Julie on the phone so much in her home office that she was like, oh crap, do I have questions? And then she did. She said, what is your biggest challenge right now? So that was the question to the interviewer. And the interviewer was like, wow, what is our biggest challenge right now? And so actually the interviewer told her what their biggest challenge, they had a big challenge in the opera. And instead of the 20-year-old, like blurting out some advice or something, she knew from listening to Julie on the phone that it's like, all right, well, what have you tried so far to conquer this challenge? And so this interviewer totally was starting to just talk about this really like intimate stuff from within the organization, the athletic department. And so, the 20-year-old go, well, what else have you tried? Anything else? And then she stops and it's like, well, we don't know really what else to try. And that's all right. So what are you going to do next? Right? What are you going to do next? This is the 20-year-old, talking to a 50-year-old. And so what are you going to do next? And so the gal, the interviewer, is like thinking about it. It's like, you know, I don't know. You know, is this something that you think you could help with? And the 20-year-old, yeah, I think so. Right? I think so. Let's cover this. And then it was like, what are you going to do next? And it's like, what's the first next step? What's the first next step to what you're going to do next? And the lady was like, well, I think I'm going to seriously considering hiring you.
For real.
And then the 20-year-old like, oh, that's good, and then she goes, by when?
Wow.
Kaboom, right? And she goes, now you're hired.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I took a sabbatical from real estate for 2 years, and I went to work for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals.
There you go.
And I got the job on the first interview, and I had already affirmed that I was going to get this job. And my mother was like, "You have no pharmaceutical skills." I said, "Look, Ma, I'm going to get this job. I'm going to get a job in pharmaceutical sales, and I'm going to get the job by February the 1st. I did not get the job by February the 1st. I got hired on Valentine's Day. But I do believe that one of the reasons I got the job, there was this small little red handbook in the library, and it talked about how to get a job in pharmaceutical sales.
Wow.
And it says, take a notepad, write down these questions to ask the person who is interviewing you. So I take my little notepad, I pull the notepad out, and they also said you should have a brag book. And I got the call for my second interview as I was walking to the car from the first interview. And my mother said, I don't know how you did that. Now I'm thinking back, it had to be the fact that I had all of those questions lined out. And they were thoughtful questions, but they told me to ask those questions. And so I was like, okay, I could see. But you know what? That 20-year-old was probably unlike any other 20-year-old that they had ever hired.
That's right.
Ever. And that's a great way to get a job. So I have a question for you. Yeah. In your book, you talk about how we need to focus on the top people in our database. Right. So how are we going to take all of these people and get to this 100 to focus on?
Well, the first thing is you need to go through your phone or go through your CRM and identify the top people. And in many cases, this is a sticking point for people. There's many ways you can do it. You can simply go on your phone and look at the A's and go through and just write down the name of the people you like. That's it, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be this. In the book, I talk about A+, A, B, C, D, right? A+ are your ambassadors, A's are your champions, B's are potential champions, C's are friends and family, D's are delete, right? Or drip campaign. So you can do it that way. You can also do it by energy, right? So you can just go through your database and put a plus next to the people who positive energy. You can put in a 0. I mean, you're going to look at people in your CRM. It's like, you don't even remember who they are. It's okay. They don't remember you either. It's all good. So it's like put a 0 next to the neutrals and then put a negative under the people who kind of have a negative energy, right? And you go through and you do the plus, 0, minus. And then you go back through the pluses and you look at, okay, who are those people that really energize, right? They walk in the room and it lights up the room. Like anytime you're around them, you feel better, right? And we're going to put an X through the plus so that it looks like a multiplication symbol now, right? So it looks like an asterisk. And then we're going to go to the minuses and we're going to go through the minuses and we're going to go, okay, who are those really divisive, negative people? And we're going to put a dot above and below the minus sign. So now we have a division sign, right? So we have the multipliers, we have the adders, we have the neutrals, we have the negative, and we have the divisive, right? So you can do that grading in about, if you have a couple of thousand, you can do it in about 30 minutes. It's amazing how fast you can do it. So your multipliers are your ambassadors essentially, and your plus people or your adders are the ones that are going to be your champions. Your zeros are your neutrals, right? And they're kind of like your potential champions. And then you've got your negative, and then you've got your divisive. Well, we sure in the heck don't want to spend a lot of time with the negative or the divisive, right? So we want to spend most of our time around the multipliers. And one of the best ways to attract multipliers is, once again, to be a multiplier, right? Be high energy, always be around and be positive, be optimistic, compliment people, speak highly of people, be a pleasure to be around, have manners, be a good person, always be looking to help others, love, generosity, and appreciation, which is the 7L system, right? The entire thing is we help people build their business around love, generosity, and appreciation. But it's not fluff and stuff, right? This isn't singing kumbaya around a fire. It is strategic and tactical with direct strategies that lead to a conversation that leads to referrals, right? So that's the big thing is grade your database first, and you've instantly identified the top people, right? Next thing we need to do is mobilize the army. We need to have an event or a couple of events or 4 events. We need to have an event. And that event, we teach hundreds of events, but that event could be an I love you latte, which is you going to Starbucks or a coffee shop, and for 2 hours, you buy everybody in the place drinks, right? You buy their coffee for 2 hours. So it's pay it forward on steroids, right? The thing with coffee shops is I always buy the person behind me coffee, right? No matter who they are, where they are. And I've gotten everything from super great responses to what's your ulterior motive? I'm very suspicious about you. I've gotten it all, right? But yes. I don't care. I'm going to buy their coffee anyway, and there's no ulterior motive. But it's like this pay it forward on steroids. I just did it by accident one time, and the next person would just happen to be really close to the first person, so I was like, well, I'll buy theirs too. And then it was just like, why don't I just buy everybody in line? There were like 15 people in line, and then it just kind of it's like, why didn't I invite everybody I know to this? I mean, it would have been great to buy coffee for people I know too. So I invited everybody I knew, right? And pretty soon this was kind of a part of Michael Maher is every quarter. I didn't do it, it was like every quarter, maybe twice a year. I would just let everybody in the city know that I knew that I'm going to be at the Glenwood Starbucks between 3 and 5 p.m. and I'm buying your coffee, come on by. And it turned into a networking thing. And some days I had like 2 people who I knew come by. And then other times I had 75 to 80 that I knew come by. And it's all good, right? It's all, at most coffee shops, there's people there all the time. So you're going to be buying something for somebody. But it's very inexpensive. You're going to get out. I mean, 50 cups of coffee would be $250 bucks, right? And, but the thing is it's not the power. The event doesn't hold the power. It's the invitation that holds the power, right? I invite 1,000 people and only 15 show up. Who do I get a win with? 1,000 people.
Yeah, because you invited them.
Right. That's right. So that a lot of people call 7L an event-based business, right? Well, that's just an event-based business, or that's an event-based business. Well, okay. So the events are important because we need to mobilize our army, and we need to train our army, and we need to arm our army. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Could you imagine the military never getting together to do exercises or to practice or to actually get together to fight, right? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, it's like, that's not even, you can't even, so why don't we do that with our database? Why, why? And the number one biggest mistake that I see out there is I see 0 appreciation events a year, right? I know top producers that don't do a single event a year. And it's like, that's the biggest mistake I've ever heard of.
Wow.
The second biggest mistake.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's your show. You tell me what to do. Right?
Keep going, because you got me on fire right now. You're reinforcing a lot of great things. Thank you. That's right.
So the second biggest mistake is having one. I know top producers who have one appreciation event every year, and they yeah, we do events. No, you don't. You do an event, and doing one is a big mistake because there is no energy. There is no momentum. I mean, you can't do momentum with one, right? Momentum is at least 2 points in time. So if you want momentum, then you need to have at least 2 events. And what we've discovered is the magical number of events for everyone in your database is 3, right? It is 3, right? And it's not 4, it's not 7. I wish it was 7 because then it would line up with my book a lot better. But it's 3. I mean, and listen, we're talking thousands upon thousands of events that we've helped coach and that we have hosted and that we have been. But the magic with 3 is you get a month to invite, you get a month to confirm and continue inviting. You have the event, and then you have a month to follow up, right? So the biggest thing that people don't do with their events is follow up, right? So the nice thing is when you have one event every kind of, third of the year, is you end up with plenty of time to invite, plenty of time to plan, plenty of time to confirm. You have the event, and then you have 3 or 4 weeks to follow up from the event, right? And you're going to follow up by thanking everybody who attended. You're going to email or call the people who didn't attend and say, hey, listen, we had a great event, but there was one thing missing. You were missing. We missed you. Is it okay if we invite you to future events? Most of the people are going to say yes, but you might get 1 or 2 no's, and that's okay, right? You just find out what's going on there. And in many cases, it's somebody that has a relative in real estate or whatever it may be. And it's like you just take them off the list. It's no big deal, right? That's the thing about people. They keep making more, right? So it's one of those where that's the beauty of the system is you've got this 4 months, and then after you follow up on the previous event, and while you're following up from the previous event, you are inviting them to the next event, right? And one of the things that you want to do at the first event you do is invite them to the next event. Get their, if you can, get their RSVP for the next event while you're there, right? So and what it does, it builds on itself, right? And you get this upward wave. I think it would be that way, right? So it would be upward wave that, you get an energy, a momentum, and you get a lot of referrals. And so why do you mobilize your army? We have a very simple equation. A plus A equals 2 A pluses. And what that means is you get someone who likes you together with someone who likes you, and they will both love you because they're talking, they're reconfirming to each other that they like you, right? I mean, this is how I got my wife, right? She didn't want any part of me when she was the only girl in the room, right? She wouldn't even give me her number. But then we were at a party 2 weeks later, and I'm talking to another girl. Now we're talking. Right? So I'm talking to another girl, and she really likes me. All of a sudden, Sherry kind of likes me, right? So this guy's desirable. This guy's referable, baby. I'm going to latch onto that. So then I stalked her for 6 months, and finally she went out with me. I'm just kidding about the last part.
Oh, God. You know what? I realized that there's some things I was doing right, but you've connected so many dots. And one, you've made it cost effective because you should be able to buy coffee, right? I love the 1 month before and then the 1 month after with the follow-up while inviting them to yet the next event. So guess what? I'm going to let you know right now, I am doing coffee in the Chicagoland area, and I'm going to follow this system because not only should I be able to follow it, I should be able to teach my agents, right, how to follow the system as well because it's simple. And the questions that you ask are simple, and it doesn't cost money to ask questions. You can ask questions however many different ways you want to ask them. And so I am just elated for the abundance of information that you provide because I can definitely see how this can change a realtor's referral-based business. And I got to go back into this database. And I need to start right now because with my little symbols, making sure that I push all the, and I've done a good job of getting rid of negative, but there's some low hanging negativity there. Yeah. And how to just kind of, put them into a drip email campaign, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At the very least, you need to invite them to your I love you latte, right? They won't come. It's okay, right? The best person in the world, I think, is a non-attendee who refers you. Right? They don't cost you anything. and they refer you. And by the way, that does happen a lot with this 7L system. Is you will get a lot of referrals from non-attendees simply because you invited them. This is attractive, right? There's people out there who teach a lot of chase-based systems, right? There's even chase-based referral systems out there, like a pop by and chasing and stuff like that. No, 100% attractive, right? Is there anything more attractive than an invite, right?
No.
Right.
Yeah,
So I want you to invite me to your Chicago I love you latte, or you can call it a thanks a latte if the we love is too strong, right? You can do thanks a latte, or we like you very mocha, right? You can do whatever you want. But the thing on this is I want to even take it up another notch, and I know we're close to the end, but hopefully those that listen to the very end are going to get rewarded. And that is, not only is this low cost or no cost, we can actually make money making money. So Marky, what you're going to do is you're going to do an I love you latte, but you're going to pull in a couple of sponsors, right? So you're going to partner with a mortgage professional, title person, inspector, warranty, whatever it may be. And they're gonna hold the event with you. So the three of you will be at the event, or whoever, and they're gonna be paying for the coffee, but you're gonna invite people. You're gonna coordinate the event and the whole 9 yards. And so you've got the 2 Starbucks cards that they've given you for $2.50 a piece or whatever it is, and you're shaking hands, you're high-fiving, and your sponsors are helping to offset some of the cost. And then to even take it to the next level, welcome to the generosity generation. You're gonna partner with a charity. So you are going to say, hey, listen, if you're going to come down to Starbucks anyway, bring a blanket, right? We're going to get the blanket to the homeless organization down the road, and we're going to get them all a blanket, or you can bring a coat, right? Coats or blankets, something warm. There's in your closet, there's 3 coats you never wear. There's old blankets that you have in the garage. Bring them so somebody can actually be warm at night. And so bring those down to the Starbucks at Glenwood between 3 and 5 p.m. Here's the thing. You don't even have to drink the coffee. Just bring the coats and blankets. Here's the other thing. You don't have any coats and blankets. Don't worry about it. I'm still buying your coffee so you can be warm. And here's the thing. I've got a couple of people who are partnering up. I've got Aaron with this mortgage company, and I've got Janelle at this warranty company. And they're going to help me do this too. And I hope you consider their services as well. The bottom line is come on down to the Thanks a Latte event we're doing next Thursday at Starbucks.
Excellent. My goodness. Now, how do people connect with you? Do you coach, mentor? Yeah. What do they need to do, Michael?
So thank you for asking. And if they haven't read 7L, go to the book on referrals.com. And 7L, as we talked about earlier, Marky, it's been #1 in real estate sales on Amazon for 8 straight years, right? 8 years, #1. It's got over 700 5-star reviews. Thank you, everybody. And Marky, never an ounce of advertising, never been marketed, never been promoted. 100% of those sales are from word of mouth or referral. And many of them are listening to your show, and I really, really appreciate them spreading the word and continuing to spread the word. So the book on referrals.com would be maybe the first step. The other thing too is you know what? Get in tune with referralspodcast.com, right? We do a podcast. It is 100% about referrals. Please notice it's not the Michael J. Maher show. Please notice that it's not anything. It is referralspodcast.com. We are talking about be referable and building a referable business, and that is 100% our focus. Podcasters are listening to this. You love to listen to podcasts. I hope they tap into Referrals Podcast, and from there they can learn enough about me, right? It's all good. I'm here to help.
Well, Michael, I want to know how I can be of service to you in the future and continue to help you grow your business. See, I'm learning. I want to thank your wife, Sherry, for sharing you with us. Yeah. And I am so appreciative that you were willing to take time out of your busy schedule to come over here and teach realtors how to build referral-based businesses and to give relevant tips that they can implement instantly to change the landscape of their business. Thank you.
Thank you. And I need to give a shout out to Matt Johnson for connecting the two of us. I really appreciate that referral from him. Referrals are what I do. And he's been a great ambassador for me. So I need to thank him. And then Marky, last but not least, oh my God, thank you for the value that you're providing this world. And thank you for so much for what you're doing for the real estate industry. We're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want you to have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.